my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel, and today's video is my spoiler-free review for At Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. The content warnings for this book will be linked down below in the description if you are interested in those, and let's go ahead and get into... This is the third book in the Brown Sisters series, and it follows our main character Eve Brown, whose life seems to always go wrong no matter how hard she works to make it not go wrong. She's given up on even trying, but when her parents draw the line, Eve is forced to go out and try to prove herself. Which brings us to our other main character, Jacob, who is the owner of a bed and breakfast. He expects nothing less than perfection, so when Eve shows up randomly one day to interview for a new job, he promptly shoots her down. That is, until she accidentally hits him with her car, leaving him with a broken arm and an understaffed B&B. He hates everything about Eve having to infiltrate his space in an attempt to help, but it isn't long before their animosity towards each other begins to change into something else. Let's go ahead and start this review off by talking about the characters. Prior to reading this book, I had read Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, which is the first book in the Brown Sisters series. And once we got introduced to Chloe's sisters in that book, Eve instantly became a favorite of mine, so this was the book I was looking forward to most after reading that one, as she was just absolutely lovely, a joy to read from beginning to end of this book. Like Get a Life, Chloe Brown, the story was very character focused, and I do really love how much we got to know our two main characters here. We do get a nice deep dive into them and some pretty solid character growth as well. And on that note, this book also does have some really strong quotes in it. I felt the urge to annotate. I didn't, but the urge was there. There's a lot of conversation in here about finding your path and self-worth and valuing yourself and your accomplishments. And I loved that so much. And that was especially the case for Eve, but it was also the case for Jacob as well. And I really enjoyed both of our main characters here. They're super easy to root for and to just want good things for. And speaking of good things, that is going to bring me to the romance. One of my complaints about Get a Life, Chloe Brown was that I wanted to stay in the enemies to lovers territory a little bit longer than that story ultimately did. And I do feel like Eve and Jacob flowed better for me in terms of story structure. It wasn't perfect, but this one did feel more gradual to me, although I do wish that we got to spend a little more time in the friendship area in between the enemies to lovers. But it doesn't really matter too much because these two were super cute and fun together. I really loved them. Which again, I expected going in, but it's always satisfying to be right, even though it was pretty obvious that I was going to be right. I also feel like their individual character growth was impacted by the romance and the dynamic between the two of them, in a they helped each other grow type of way, which was super sweet. This story also gets pretty steamy, and I do think that it got a little too cheesy at points, both within those steamy scenes and outside of them too. And I do think that this book does feel very cheesy rom-com-esque at times. And as much as I don't think that everything about that worked for them, I do think that a lot of it did, because I do feel like this story leaned into that and had a lot of really fun and comedic moments. I also do want to talk about the setting because Skybriar and just the bed and breakfast in general all felt very cozy, very beautiful. I feel like it's a place that I really want to go to or honestly just see a picture of. I also do want to highlight the representation in here. I started reading this book during Autism Awareness Month, and this book does feature Own Voices representation when it comes to that. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. It was super sweet, fun, and heartwarming. And by the end of the book, I found myself really attached and invested in these characters and their story. I did go slightly out of order here when it comes to the Brown Sisters series, which doesn't not bother me. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter at all. If anything, I only got more hyped to read the second book from this one. But it does mean that I only have Get a Life, Chloe Brown for reference when it comes to my rating, and I do think that I like this one more than I liked Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which I loved that book, so this is gonna be good. I went with a 4.5 there, and I think that I am going to go with a 4.75 out of 5 here. And again, I am really looking forward to reading the second book in the Brown Sisters series, and also Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, because I've heard really good things about that one as well, and I'm also just developing quite the love for this author. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!